Good evening, everyone. My name is Rudy McComb. I'm founder of Think Big Technologies, and just wanted to go ahead and try something different. We're trying a new way to do some streams, and we wanted to be able to talk to you this evening about Rafay systems and Kubernetes. This is only going to be about 5 minutes. We'll come back and do a larger one. Um, Basically, at the end of the we back up. If you are new to the Kubernetes space, or if you've been in the Kubernetes world for any length of time, you realize that Kubernetes, for the most part, is a command line tool. It's just a container orchestrator, right? Container scheduler. And the way that you go about managing it is we've always managed it using the command line. In the last couple of years, Rancher, they came out with basically a single pane of glass that allowed you to go ahead and deploy clusters through it, import clusters, and allow you to see all the different resources, workloads, namespaces, deployments, services, ingress controllers, etc., pods, containers, what have you. And that has become pretty much a de facto standard of how do you visually manage a Kubernetes environment, an entire platform. Well, a couple of years ago, a company by the name of Rafay Systems, they came around and they really kind of picked up the baton picked up the ball where Rancher kind of dropped the ball. Rancher was acquired by SUSE a few years back, and they have struggled to kind of find their way. It seems like they're coming around right now. But for those who were firmly in the Rancher camp, you had to go look elsewhere. Some people went to go the Tanzu route. Others, there's a couple other projects that are out there where they would give you that single pane of glass. Well, Rafay Systems is here, and I just want to give you kind of a little peek into it. I actually did this webinar early today, but it didn't get recorded. So I'm gonna do a larger one tomorrow, maybe even this evening. But I just want to go ahead and show you something really cool. So when you log into Rafay, this is the Rafay dashboard. Actually, let me share my screen. A little bit nervous, so I haven't done this in a while. So let's see here. Here we go. Okay. So this is the Rafay Systems dashboard. This is the application. Now, Rafay is a SaaS offering. It's not something that you can run on-prem. It's not something that you would deploy via a Kubernetes cluster. This is not open source. This is something that you would either sign up with Rafay to use for your entire Kubernetes environment, or we are a Rafay partner. You would come to us and we'd actually manage your clusters for you. And the technicalities and the ways that this happens underneath what they offer you are really mind blowing. So let's click here on clusters and let's see what we have. So if you notice here on the left side, we have a menu system of all of our different options that we have available to us for our Kubernetes clusters. And then we have a project scope. This is just the default project that we're running in. And then we went ahead and deployed a Kubernetes cluster. It shows other because we're not utilizing a cluster from Azure, Google, or AWS. So this is a DigitalOcean cluster. But a couple of things that you can see here, shows you type, shows the location. These locations are based upon a predetermined list pulling from the different cloud provider APIs that get exposed through Rafay. Shows the time that the cluster was created, and then it shows a blueprint. Blueprints are basically Rafay's way for you to deploy applications inside of your Kubernetes cluster with minimal fuss. Now, Rafay, you may say, oh, yet another platform to deploy application to. Well, Rafay, you can go ahead and use Rafay with GitOps. You can use Rafay by just importing or deploying the clusters through this single pane of glass. You can also use Rafay with Terraform. It's pretty cool. So just kind of going down the road here. Notifications are disabled on this cluster. We're going to go ahead and turn these notifications on. Now, this is not to take the place of a proper observability stack, whether that's Prometheus, Operator, Grafana, F, or Elk, or Splunk, or Loki, or Cortex. Not at all. New Relic, Datadog, what have you. But this gives you more of a first line of defense, something, as opposed to having whoever's going to be looking at this dashboard on a regular basis, whether that's a NOC, whether that's the security department, InfoSec, or that's somebody else on the platform team, or even down to the product owner and application owner. Here you'll see it gives us information on the CPU. We have 3 cores here. There's 2.11 that are currently being used and allocatable. There's 0.89, and these, of course, is pulling from millicores. We also have information here about the total amount of memory. So total is 5.81. And then we have 2.4 gigabytes that have been committed. And then we have a certain amount that's allocatable. And then here are the nodes information. Reachability check is just checking to make sure that it can be reached. What's happening is there's basically an outbound connection that's going from the cluster to the Rafay platform. And we're coming into it over a secure connection over 443. Shows the operational status of ready, and then blueprint sync. Now, down here is not too much to see because we haven't really deployed anything into the cluster, but if we click this little gear here over on the right, we see we can update the blueprint. We can go ahead and view more information about the cluster. We'll jump back over here. And you can also download the kube config, which is very helpful. Again, for whatever the reason, we follow GitOps. That's our recommended path, but depending on your environment and your organization, you may have a reason to do something different. We also have the ability in here to configure ingress IPs. So again, here's the information over here, and this is fully configurable. We also have the ability to manage cluster sharing. So do we want this to be limited to just all projects or a specific project, depending on who's logging into the Rafay platform? We also have in this list, we have utilization, backup and restore settings, kubectl settings, alert settings, and then delete the cluster. Now, because we imported this cluster, if we delete the cluster, it's actually not going to delete the cluster, but we'll do another video on that at a later time, just kind of walking you through some of the, I wonder if you did this, or what happens if you do that. Let's look at the kubectl settings. So kubectl settings, the CLI access for your terminal is enabled, and then the browser access is also enabled, which means you can disable this. We've had requests from security teams to say, hey, this is really cool. We're okay with the platform team running this. We're not okay with these product owners running it. Can we shut off kubectl for them? Yes, you can. Also along the same lines, let's look at what it says here around utilization. So nothing under here, right? We don't have any crazy utilizations. Wanted to see what it was going to do. But if we click on resources, we get a little bit more information about what's going on. So it starts, of course, over here on the node side, and then works with the resources and configuration. From the node side, here are all 3 nodes that we have listed. And then if we click on each one, we'll see more information, right? So we'll get the health information about it. You can view it another way if you want to. But let's jump back to this previous view. So we have the health status of it is ready. It's a worker node, internal IP, ingress IP, the roles that are on this particular node, network information, memory pressure, disk pressure, process ID pressure information. And then we also have the CPU cores, right? How many CPU cores are being used, how many are available to you, and then the container runtime version, the kernel version, the kubelet version, and then the OS version, which is running Debian. We also can take a look here and see we have labels that are listed here, and we also have taints available to us if we wanted to set a taint on this particular node. If you're unfamiliar with taints and tolerances are, I'll refer you back to the Kubernetes documentation. Let's click on resources, and you can see there's a lot of information here. This is information you would normally, with Rancher, this was still exposed somewhat, but having spent years using Rancher and then a couple months using Rafay, I can certainly say that Rafay is a cut above the rest. It's definitely an enterprise grade. Why do I say that? It's the layout, it's the system, it's what it allows you to do. I'll go to namespaces, for example. Not only do I have this kubectl shell always available to me, if I click the gearbox, I can choose the information I want to expose. Now this changes depending on what resource that you choose. So let's jump down here to pods. Come down here to pods. What can I do? I can come over here and say, let me edit the YAML. Let me get a describe, which is right here. So let me run a kubectl describe pod. Here's a describe. Let me also download information on that. Let me get the events information that happened with this particular pod. And again, you can sort that out by your columns. And then let me go ahead and let's get a shell open. Better yet, let's look at some logs. Hit the logs, and here we go. Here are logs directly from the pod. And I can also enlarge this screen, this shell that's here, by clicking open a new window. And then I can also go ahead and actually shell right into this particular pod. I don't have to deal with kubectl exec dash I and bin sh or bin zsh. I don't deal with any of that. It's right here. And we'll do a quick LSLA on there. That's what's running. Let's do a little top. And there you go. Cilium agent, Cilium health, sh at top. This is what's running on this container. Let's get out of there. And you'll notice the same thing is kind of available to for each resource that's here: deployments, replica sets, stateful sets, daemon sets. One of the cool things I like about this, you can actually come in here and you can scale up a deployment. You can scale it up, and you can also describe it. You can restart it. You can edit the YAML right here. Another cool feature: how about creating a deployment? You can create a deployment using YAML, or you can create it using a form. This is very handy for those groups who you have workloads in Kubernetes, but Kubernetes is not your, it's not your jam, not your bread and butter. You're just responsible for making sure that your app is deployed. Within that, though, you may have a need to deploy, to create a deployment. What could that be for? If you know, you know. But this could be anything from a simple deployment to test. It could be even in a Nic container. One of the cool features I'll mention here, if I go back over here to pods, there is the ability for us to create a container. So let me jump ahead of the jobs. Let's do roles. Let me see, where did I see jobs, daemon sets, deployments. There is a setting on here to create an init container. I'll come back to this later. Actually, I'll do a whole video on it. It's one of the coolest features I've seen, but it allows you to just go ahead and stand up something kind of in a quick hurry. If you come under here under form, again, here's the labels and annotations, networking resources, scaling and upgrade policy, no scaling, pod scheduling, security contacts, and storage information. And even under general, here's all the information for your policy, the init container. You may need to go ahead and stand up a container for troubleshooting. Or you just may be testing something. You have the ability to choose between an init container and a standard container. I think that that's great. Many systems don't allow that granularity. But again, Rafay gives you ease of use and speed all wrapped into one wonderful package. So there's a couple of features that are here. I'm going to jump out and go over to the dashboard real quick before we wrap it up. Again, we're just trying something a little bit different this evening. Wanted to really bang on Rafay and just kind of unveil what is it all about. They're a wonderful partner. They're currently used by many different large enterprises, public and private sector. And if you find yourself utilizing Kubernetes workloads and you don't have a single pane of glass to manage it, you may want to go ahead and give us a call. And the reason I say is because imagine how much time and energy you spent creating your own dashboard. Let's not even talk about the Kubernetes dashboard, which it serves its purpose when it came out. But how do you know what's going on with your clusters? How do you know what's going on with the entire platform? How do you get that information over to the NOC, to the security teams? How do you get that over to VPs, directors, managers? Everyone does not need command line access to Kubernetes. So you want to take that in mind and really think about that as you're building out what your Rafay environment is going to look like. Who's going to have access to what project? Are you going to integrate it with Terraform? Are you going to integrate it with GitOps? Are you going to do manual deployments? What are you going to do? So again, I'm going to leave you with the dashboard just so you can see how cool this is. There's audit logs that are here. I just find that totally amazing. Within that, if we click on home and we click on dashboards, here's another view of the same thing right here by projects, by case versions. And it's really showing us from a high level what's going on. Can you imagine if you had 20, 30, 40, 400 different clusters running this out of Rafay, what that would look like spread across different projects. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I want to thank you for your time this evening. Again, my name is Rudy McComb. I'm founder and CEO of Think Big Technologies. We are a US-based professional and managed services consulting firm, specifically around Kubernetes and cloud native technologies. We're a silver member of the CNCF, that's the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. And we're also partnered with Rafay, KubeCost, Tigera, Run AI for your ML and AI workloads. Also part of the AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, along with DigitalOcean. Please go ahead and look us up on all of your favorite social media platforms. It's thnKbig.com. You can send us an email at info@thinkbig.com. That's info@thnKbig.com. Our teams are all, again, US based. There's no offshoring, there's no nearshoring. We've been doing Kubernetes since 2016. We're passionate about the cloud native space. We love the work that's happening here. We will do more videos on Rafay. We'll also do videos on KubeCost and then other CNCF projects within this space. So please check us out. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we'll be in touch with you all soon. Take care and have a great evening. Bye-bye.